I'm delighted to have John McLaughlin here today, and he's from the Connect Factor Open Mic Night. Hello, John.
How's it going, Elaine?
Great,
Good?
thank you so much, and thanks so much for coming on.
No, that's grand.
So tell us all about the Connect Factor Open Mic Night.
Well, the Connect Factor, it's something myself and Linda Balfe. Linda Balfe's the owner of Aspen Counselling. I work in Aspen Counselling as a psychotherapist too. And we're both psychotherapists with a keen interest in the arts. So we decided that, we initially we wanted to kind of give a platform for, a lot of people don't do talk therapy. They like to express themselves in different ways. They like to. So we saw it, and we thought, how might we do that? What could we create in the community that would create a platform for to allow people to express themselves healthily, and in a safe place. Because Seven Linda operate with a very therapeutic model as our day-to-day bread and butter, and that's going to leak into our open mics where we're creating a very safe place for people to express themselves through artistic means. Do you know what I mean? So, so that we decided we'd create something, and I suppose the name is a clue. It's about, I suppose, the etiology of all this is about a lot of the isolation that was coming through our doors as therapists from post-COVID, and that people very much siloed. And that had two effects. It disconnected people, but it also gave birth to a lot of talent but it was very much contained in houses everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So we figured, okay, that's an honest response to what was happening in the world at the time, and a very healthy response. So would it be a good thing to bring this out and let it express itself in the community? So the Connect Factor is about connection, and that's the real important thing. So we decided in September. Well, we planned around June and July 2023, and we connected with excuse the pun, but we connected with Kenny's in Lucan. Great. Now, Danny Kenny is a kind of a hidden person in all this, but he's an extremely important person. Kennys are well established in the community. They have a very strong identity in the community here in Lucan. They're so involved in anything that has to do with kind of raising awareness for different charities, different fundraisers, stuff. They've always stepped up, and he heard what we were proposing, that we're going to set up a platform, and he loved it. He just loved it, because he'd witnessed many functions even on his premises, where private parties, where you'd have talented people, and he would say, God, if we could just get that out, what I mean? So we arrived, myself and Linda, to him with this idea, we're going to set this up, and would he like to be involved? And he said, yeah, I'd absolutely, and he completely got behind us, and he organised his room in the bar at the very first, the lounge actually, for the very first night in September of 2023, and then we evolved into using the function room. Mm-hmm. Now the function, this is the hidden thing that open mics really kind of thrive or die by. Do you know, if the venue is solid, and the relationship with the venue owner is solid, and we had those things. But the venue itself, the function room, has a lovely kind of. It reminds you of other stories, It has a church-like quality, and it's very intimate. Yes. It's very separate from the main activity of Kenny's bar, because it's a very extremely So it's very separate. So it offers artists this real intimate place where they can be really appreciated. And they're not competing with football matches, or they're not competing with the main event, which is the alcohol. So how many pubs have you been in where there's a lonely musician in the corner, and he's playing his heart out, and he's just going home depleted because he's underappreciated, and he's put hours and hours of work into his set, and he's trying to connect with people, and very often underappreciated. And we felt that there was so much of that in box rooms and kitchens and sitting rooms around the whole community that, it's a very important thing to provide a platform for people to express their talent. Now, the other side of it, we're coming from the therapeutic side. you know, when you think about it, it's really about it's the soul's expression.
Yes, yeah.
So at an open mic, you have individual performers, maybe, you know, the Queen Biz, who you were talking
Yes.
to in your last interview. They've performed there many times. Some are professionals, some are starting out, but all of them share the same thing, is their love of expressing themselves, making the visible, making the inaudible, you know, audible,
Exactly.
you know, in
Yes.
song, in poetry, in drama. Sometimes, you know, I've actually performed acting pieces there myself, and I've performed on the guitar there myself. I've collaborated with other artists there as well. So, you know, so it's about creating that safe place where artists can support other artists, and then
Yes.
people can witness that and understand what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, the other people involved are, we have a guy, a very accomplished musician in his own right, Johnny Murray on the sound. And Justin Mason steps in every now and again as well. He's another accomplished musician. So all of us have a sense of what it's like to perform. We understand the apprehension, the vulnerability of it.
Yes.
So it's very important. So we provide a very welcoming and non-judgmental space so that people can really express themselves honestly. And when they come off stage, and often when they come off, they say, "Oh, I made a mistake, or I've done this," you know. That we're there to say, "No, we're all here together in this." You know, it's like, it's about really supporting people who, you know, we have been absolutely blown away, like, with the talent that's out there, the musicianship. It's unreal.
Fantastic.
It's incredible. You know, people writing their own material, people singing covers or whatever. You know, the comedians, the poets. You know, the writers, the rap artists. I have to give out Roisin Kearney and mention she's she came down, and she's like the spoken word. She's a rap artist, but she speaks it from the bus stop. You know, do you know what I mean? She's there. She you know, all her rhymes are really raw, and they're all about you know, what's going on in the community. But yeah, so we've had every age group from 75 all the way down. You know, it is an over 18s event, but there is an opportunity. I think between May and September, I think by law, they can stay on the premises till 10 o'clock if they're accompanied. So we're looking forward to maybe encouraging some of the under 18s. Do you know what I mean?
Great. Yes.
Do you know? I think what was important, I was only talking to a fella, Bobby Harper, from the Blue Room sessions in Leixlip. He runs an open mic up there in Leixlip GAA Club, and he caters for maybe the under 18s more so, because it's not it's not a bar as such. But he has a similar ethos as well. So I think that message is really kind of starting to permeate into the importance of what art brings to the expression. Oh yes,
young and old.
Yeah, exactly. It's just there's like a collective anxiety going on post COVID. You know what I mean? We are definitely, as therapists, we're seeing the trauma, the collective trauma. Do you know what I mean? That was the attack on identity, our sense of freedom, our sense of autonomy, what we thought we could do versus what we can and can't do. You know, all of that stuff. Yes. You know, we've seen that very prevalent in people, and what better, you know.
The thing as well, and I can understand this. You know, I'm a singer and artist myself.
Yes, you are.
You know, and for many years, and I suppose from both sides, you know, even myself as a person who loved music and going and being entertained, or the arts, you know, in any form of entertainment, I think both sides were affected, you know, and I suppose for the musicians during the COVID, the artists, nothing like that ever happened, especially in Ireland. There was always, the music always happened, it never stopped.
No.
You know,
you
know, like that, you'd go into a bar, you'd go to a venue, and there'd be music, or even on the street. Well, I suppose the street you could possibly do it, but inside, that was it. And there was a lot of musicians I knew as well who their mental health was affected by it, because they weren't able to be entertained. or to go out, and perform. And
Yeah.
it is something that's in you. Music is in us all. If it's not a performer, it's somebody who, it's seeing it. It's being in that environment of music. It's such a holistic,
It's an expression.
Yes,
it's a complete expression.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is it the best expression of the mind? You express all of the mind. Do you know what I mean? It was interesting. I was thinking about writers and what we've had writers that have attended and even read pieces. I mean, think about what writers do. I mean, they can take us to very, very dark places, very joyous places, and they give us the sense of it without having to actually do it ourselves.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So technically, you could murder somebody,
yes,
in a story.
Yeah, exactly.
But never having to harm anyone.
Exactly.
But that's an important part
creative.
of the human expression that's allowed to be tapped into. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because we work holistically, as you know,
Exactly.
that word that you've used. We are all moving through society, making sure we've good breaks.
Exactly. And I think one thing that really sort of hit the nail on the head for me was when we went back to performing again, everyone was allowed to go back out and perform. And I remember getting on stage, and that was the first time I'd actually been out among so many people, myself even, and I would have been quite brave about everything, but the COVID, some people, it affected us differently. And I got on stage, I was like, I don't care now, I had enough. And getting on stage, and the band, we got on stage, and then the audience, I remember getting off stage and everybody just came and hugged me.
Yeah.
And even men were all dancing, everyone, it was just so good to be, and as you said, it's the same thing, the connect. It's the connection, music, what music does to you, or music, the arts, the visual, the
whatever
stories,
you're chosen,
the poet, whatever, it's just that connection with people, and absolutely.
I suppose what we haven't, and this was an idea, I would love to represent the people, the artists who paint, who draw, maybe at some of our events we'd even have those pictures around the walls, because they make the invisible visible.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It's all one. I mean, it's all art.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
We haven't had any dancers yet, but we're the door's open.
Oh, that's it.
But we've had musicians, comedians. It's a wonderful thing to witness. It's such a privilege. They say the feedback has been, and we've actually recorded feedback. The feedback has been that they just love the positive vibe in it.
Brilliant.
That there's something that the other, I'm not going to compare, but they were saying a lot of the open mics that they've experienced just didn't have the same sense of the artist being taken care of. Do you know what I mean? That it was just come do your thing and on you go. You know what I mean? And that's not what we're after. Do you know? We're after that connection piece. We're hoping if they do leave, we're hoping to welcome them back and tell us about where you went and where you performed, and tell us about your experience. Do you know? It's about that, because that's all part of the. That's all part of the healing, as far as and part of what it is to be an artist, to express yourself. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly it. And I mean, if you think back to, generations back, and how entertainment, how people would have they sat around and recite, sing, whatever. And when they didn't have their, back in Ireland, we were known for it. I mean, and the storytelling and the writing and the singing and the music. And I mean, that's something what you're doing there, is getting everybody together. And I think it does. It is a part of art. Artists we're very talented. In everything we do with the arts.
It blows you away.
Absolutely. And I don't think the government really taps into it as much. And I know myself as an artist, I've seen it, even being as a presenter in the underground, when I was doing the underground session and interviewing bands coming in, and you go, oh my God, it's, as I keep saying, it's in the water in Ireland, it's just in the air. It is, we're just natural artists, it's naturally there, And
I suppose when you think about it, what it's like to be, because you can relate to this, Elaine, it's so easy to make your own music now.
Yes.
Everyone's producing at home. So the market is saturated, you know. So how do you different? You know, how do you stand out amongst everyone else and all that? It's such a very cutthroat thing.
Yes.
You know, and then you've, you know, how, you know, the large players like Spotify and how much they take from the art. All of that argument. I'm not going to get too much into that because the Connect factors are about trying to give the artist what they deserve, which is a break from all of the business, the marketeering and all of the pressure that, you know, how many likes, how many followers have I got? I won't get a gig if I don't have so many likes and all that stuff. Just come, do what you love in a safe place, you know, let the business take care of itself tomorrow and just remember why you're doing it. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And remember your love for it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because that's the engine that keeps you going, you know.
And it's the confidence that they'll need to help them, you know, if there is a talent there. And, you know, once you know, it's like everything. It's like myself when I started off very young. It's just all I need is somebody to hear you. And then you realise, wow, it is. I'm right. There's something there. There's a gift I have. Yeah. And, you know, and like everybody has a gift, you know, everybody has it. And but anyway, we could go on and on. This is fantastic.
You know what? Put the kettle on, Elaine. We'll talk for another hour.
Exactly. You know, and this is absolutely fantastic. And I think this is what people need. And like the young and old, as you said, and I know it's happening with the young people as well. Yeah. They do it on Graphene, the young people there. To create, it was a creative,
the EU club there, is it?
That's right. To South Dublin County Council creating.
The noise. I think it's called noise.
Noise belongs. And I know I promoted here, and so there's something there for the young as well. And we're also, as you said yourselves, you're going to be being able to. The young people can come in as well.
Yeah, from May onwards.
I
think. I think they still have to be accompanied by a parent, but they can stay till 10 o'clock on the premises.
That's it.
And so because the talent from the under-18s is just that's another whole ball game. It's huge.
So everybody's going to look in from the young and
and that's the full breadth of the community then.
Exactly. Absolutely. So how do people? Okay, if somebody would like to get involved or even could drop in and be entertained, what do you do? Where do you go?
You know, it's on the second Tuesday of every month. We run all the way till June. We take a break for July and August, and then we kick back on again in September. We take January off because we're all decompressing after the Christmas.
Exactly.
So the next one is April the 8th. You can find us on Facebook. We have our Facebook page, The Connect Factor. We also have our Instagram page, The Connect Factor. We're also on TikTok. Not so much. I haven't got around to really building up the TikTok presence, but Instagram and Facebook contain all the details to it. They also contain both, you know, in the bio and the profiles of both pages, you'll see a link where you can, you know, we have a link tree there where you can find out a little bit more. You see some of our videos from the artists who've played. Do you know what I mean? You'll see, you know, you'll see the registration link if you want to perform. You know, you'll see various links. But we're also associated with the Dice players in Palmerstown. I have to give them a shout out. Yes. They're an acting group in Palmerstown, and they're doing a number of workshops in the community over the next while. Some great acts coming, some great names coming in to actually, you know. So there's one coming up on the 22nd of March. So the Dice players, Desi Hickey, who runs that. I'm a member myself. I love to do a bit of acting as well. So so we're closely associated with them, and we hope that relationship will go stronger over the years. Get a few more actors involved.
Absolutely.
You know, at the open, because to try out their material. Do you know?
Exactly, this is it. Absolutely.
Because like a big part of it, a lot of professional musicians, people who gig regularly.
Yes.
Have come back and said, I love coming down because, you know what, it's the first time I hear myself do my own stuff.
Yes.
And I've gotten nervous again.
Yes.
Is that something they say?
Yes.
Do you know, because they're actually playing their own stuff. They're not playing the prescribed protocol for the wedding or for the thing. Do you know what I mean?
Their own original.
So they're playing their own stuff, and it's the first time to hear, and they feel nervous again. They feel alive again. You know what I mean?
Feeling, yes.
And that's been a great asset. So people coming early in their musical journey get to mix with people who are professional, and the amount of knowledge transfer that goes on over a conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
And you know, it's so So as I say, second
Fantastic.
Tuesday of every month. The next one's April the 8th. It'd be great to see people down there. Bums on seats, as they
Great.
say.
And just register, so they get in touch with you online and they can register as if they're down.
Yeah, they can definitely register. Yeah, there.
Brilliant.
You know, if they want to perform, but just keep an eye on it. I send out lots of reminders and reels and stuff. That,
Fantastic.
you know, we recently started the video the performers as well, so
Great.
they've found that a huge asset for their own socials because
yeah,
they can share it, and we have a house piano.
Oh, should there want more? Sounds fantastic. Absolutely. I think you've sold it to everybody now. That's it. And thank you so much. That's fantastic. That's Connect Factor Open Mic Night on every second Tuesday of the month.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Don. It's been
Thanks,
a
Elaine.
pleasure.
Thanks very much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Best of luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.